So we have some pretty exciting news with leaks of the new, cheaper, maybe smaller, different, trimmed down Tesla Model Y. Now, before we get into everything that's different about this new Model Y, we got to keep in mind, this is a lower cost option. This is so Tesla can sell more vehicles in general, overall, reach more of the market. Elon Musk is always talking about how Tesla has high demand, but the price is just too much. People simply don't have the money to get Teslas even though they want them, which is kind of a funny concept because, yeah, obviously people will take more of something that's free than they would if it cost $1 million. But I get what he's saying. A lot of people do want Teslas, but it's an expensive item that not everybody can afford. And so Tesla's trying to reach as many people as they can. So there's a lot of things missing that we're used to from all Teslas, even the cheaper Model 3s and everything. So just keep all of that in mind as we go through these. I'll try to reserve my opinions for the end, but as we go through them, let me know what you are disappointed by with this, or what you would like to see, or what you think is a good idea out of these, because there's some that I actually kind of like. So let's just get right into some of these changes with this new cheaper Model Y. So one of the biggest changes is no more glass roof. We're going to have a metal roof like most standard cars. It's going to have cloth on the top. There's no glass up there anymore. And you know what? I actually do not hate this change. There are multiple benefits you're going to get from this outside of cost. So number one, of course, is going to be cost. But this is going to give you better road noise, I believe. You'll have less road noise, less wind noise from that roof. You'll probably get a little bit more aerodynamics out of it. It might not really make much of a difference, but when you add up a bunch of small things, it matters. So we can point it out. There will be less seams up there. So that could possibly be a benefit. On top of that, you'll use less HVAC. You'll need less air conditioning because in the summer months when it's really sunny, you're not going to have all that sun coming in, heating up the cabin. So while the car is parked, you won't have to be using your cabin overheat protection as much. When you're driving, you won't have to use your air conditioning as much. So this actually has multiple benefits outside of being more cost effective. And along with the road noise, the other thing I meant to point out is that the top is going to be fabric. So that alone will absorb far more sounds than the glass that's up there right now. And I know in my new 2026 Model Y, Tesla added fabric all over the place, in the trunk, in the sides, all over. And I can really tell the difference in the quietness. And that's a big part of why the new Model Y is more quiet than the old one, because there's so much more fabric. And now you're going to have a whole roof full of fabric instead of a whole roof full of glass. So there's actually a lot of benefits for this one on top of the cost savings that I think do benefit the customer as well. So I think this is a welcome change and could be pretty cool for all models if it was an option. Now, you're going to feel a little more cramped. It's not going to feel as open and roomy. But as you know, if you're a driver, now this is outside of the Cybertruck and outside of the Model X, but a driver in the Model S, Model 3, or Model Y, you really can't see your glass roof anyway. Now, if you sit back really far, maybe you could get some of that benefit, but mostly it's your passengers that are receiving the benefit from that beautiful glass roof anyway. So I think this is actually a win for the customer overall. Now, another big change is no rear light bar. So the new Model Y has that interesting design on the back. It actually matches the interior center console area, those little dot patterns that you have. And so that is going to be gone. It's going to be paint, and the Tesla logo is not going to be back there anymore. So pretty interesting change there. I go back and forth a lot on these things because personally, I don't care much about aesthetics, but I know for cars in general, for the general consumer, the looks and the style are very important. So this may affect customers in a certain way. And a lot of people, when they first see the new light bar design in the back, they don't like it so much. So maybe this will be a little more generic and can appeal to more people. So on top of that being gone, the light in the back, that like reflective or whatever they call it, kind of big red light bar that's in the back, that's also gone. So you're not going to have that back there. Pretty interesting choice. I thought this was really distinctive, looked great, and added some visibility at night, which improved safety and everything, but it looks like it's just another cost-cutting measure here. The headlights seem to be a little bit higher with a more simplified design. So right now, the 2026 Model Y has the headlights basically where the fog lights used to be. Well, now we're going to move them up to where headlights traditionally are in the cheaper Model Y, and the light bar that goes across the front is also looks like it's going to be gone. So of course, some of these things could change. I should point that out because the car's not actually released. But Tesla did say in their last earnings call that production has started. But as we know, Tesla changes their vehicles. Even, when they've made 1 million of them, they'll make changes all the time to the vehicle. So things could change. But as of now, it's looking like that front light bar is also gone. I'm seeing a lot of praise for this online. I think the front light bar looks kind of cool. A lot of people think it looks very generic, and a lot of brands have kind of brought this out, and Tesla was a little late with it. I think it looks great, but if the reaction I see online is any indication, this will actually be a pretty popular decision. And I've seen some mock-ups over on X, and it actually does still look pretty good. I think that the Model 3 looks great with its aggressive headlights and no kind of center light bar there. And if the Model Y did something similar, I think it would look good. And again, is going to save Tesla on costs. Now, something being kept is the front bumper camera. So Tesla's still going to go for autonomy on all of their vehicles. They want this to be able to be a robotaxi one day. So we will still have the front bumper camera on that new vehicle, which still at this point just leaves the Tesla Model 3 being produced with no front bumper camera. Kind of a bummer. If the board, the hardware for self-driving computer in a newer Model 3 is kind of like the right spec, I guess I'll say, adding that front bumper camera is trivial. You could literally just plug it into the board and then flip a software switch and it will work. But it's kind of weird that Tesla is still not including that in the Model 3. It's probably the same camera across at least the new Y, S, and X. Maybe Cybertruck is slightly different, but also probably the same camera. So weird that 3 is still not coming with it. And the fact that the Robotaxi has this front bumper camera, and now the cheaper Model Y, where they're cutting as much as they absolutely can, still has this front bumper camera. It shows it's essential, and Tesla still hasn't added it to the Model 3. So kind of interesting there. All right, now before we move on, we have to talk about today's totally free sample from our sponsor, Geology. If you're like me, you've probably ignored skincare for way too long and you didn't know where to start, just like I had no idea. And honestly, I didn't want to overthink it, which is where Geology came in. Geology makes skincare incredibly easy. All you do is take a 60-second quiz. They build a routine personalized to you, whether it's acne, dark under eyes, anti-aging, or just wanting better looking skin, and they ship it right to your door. Now here is what is awesome. You can try their award-winning skincare absolutely for free using my code down below, Tesla100. All you got to do is cover shipping, and along with that free sample, you get a free gift of your choice, plus up to 50% off any add-ons you want to add. I've been using Geology's face wash along with their morning cream that has SPF 15, and on top of that, I'm using their body wash. Now I did have another one that has retinol in it, but my wife Stephanie has stolen that one from me and she's using it. All of their stuff works and smells amazing. So y'all don't waste time, use the QR code or my link down below, take that quiz, it only takes a minute, and get your free sample sent directly to you. Geology is also available at Amazon and Target. Thank you so much to Geology for sponsoring this video. Now, this is not confirmed, but it looks like the cheaper Model Y could have a shorter wheelbase than the current Model Y that we're seeing. And I probably would have said, that's a big stretch because you have to change so many things to make that work. But seeing as China just kind of revealed or teased that they're going to have a longer wheelbase Model Y, a 6-seater Model Y that actually is bigger, significantly bigger than the standard Model Y that we have today, maybe this is happening. Now, people tried to do some mock-ups online with some drone footage from Joe Tetmeyer, and it's, I don't know, the pictures are not that great, and it's kind of speculation, and who knows if the pictures are good enough to really do these measurements, but it looks like it could be a possibility, and I wanted to throw it in here because we did see the longer wheelbase Model Y is a thing and is going to exist, so maybe they are going to make it a shorter wheelbase. Now let's hop into the interior and talk about some of those changes. We already talked about the glass roof. It was kind of on the outside, but also on the inside, so we have that one, but the center console is also redesigned, and it is more Cybertruck-like, which I found super interesting. So the cup holders look honestly a lot cheaper than they did on the Model Y that we have today. And there is now a gap in between the phone chargers and the cup holders. It's almost kind of like the Cybertruck. In the Cybertruck, you have the cup holders and the phone chargers all attached to the center console, and then you have a big gap, and then you have the screen. Well, there is the gap in this new cheaper Model Y, kind of like the Cybertruck, except the phone chargers are in the same spot. So you're going to have less storage in the center area, which is kind of a bummer, but I will say, having gone from the legacy Model X to the new Model X, when you don't have that area in the middle that has all the storage, which is the legacy Model X, it feels so roomy and open and big. And when you go to something like the new Model X, where you do have that storage in the middle, it feels a little more cramped. Now, overall, the amount of space you actually have is pretty much the same, and you have more storage. So it's a better thing, but I'm just saying that when you hop in, the feeling is really nice and open. So I think when people first sit in here, they're gonna be like, hey, this is actually pretty roomy. There's a lot of space in here, but they're gonna see that in the middle there, they're missing some of that storage. Now there's probably, I would guess, a tray down there, just like we see in the Cybertruck. So you'll be able to customize that somehow and add some storage of your own there. It's not a deal breaker for sure, but you can tell definitely the cup holders look cheaper. They don't have the covers like we have in the current Model Y. And you know what? I'm not surprised to see that at all. These are additional moving parts in the current Model Y that, I'm gonna be honest, I do not use. I never cover my cup holders. Why am I going to do that? I just leave them open. I usually have a drink with me anyway. So it's like this little door thingy that's just never being used in my vehicle. So not surprised to see that Tesla got rid of that. Another big one, just like the cheaper Cybertruck, there is no rear screen in this cheaper Model Y, which is so funny because the old Model Y had no rear screen. We got the new Model Y that got the rear screen for rear seat passengers. And now we're getting back to no rear screen with this cheaper but new Model Y. And it's kind of funny because everybody was talking about, Tesla wants to be the mass market vehicle. Model Y was the best selling vehicle 2023, 2024, possibly 2025. It's looking a little iffy. It's definitely going to be like top 3 best selling vehicles worldwide. So it's still doing really well. But Tesla's trying to bring prices down, trying to mass produce. And in the redesign of the Model Y, they added some complexities, and the rear screen was a big one. Most people, most of the time, are driving by themselves or maybe with one passenger. So that rear screen is back there not getting used. Now, for me, I am usually driving my kids around, so I absolutely love having that rear screen. Not only can they, of course, watch movies on it, but it has the route at the top with the time to the destination and when we're going to arrive. And my older daughter is just obsessed with, are we there yet? And she loves watching the progress on the map. And she even knows that the colors, like if there's yellow or red, she goes, oh, there's traffic coming up. So that's a lot of fun. They can adjust their air conditioning back there, which they now do often. And before, a lot of those features were only really available on the front screen. And so it's so nice to have that back there. But at the same time, if you're trying to cut costs, this is a good place to do it. That's not going to get used that often. And, if you need to turn the heated seats on back there, then okay, just ask the person in the front to do it for you. On top of that, I will point out, a lot of people are going to be talking about robotaxi and stuff. And when we use the robotaxis down in Austin, you did use that rear screen to start your ride or use your media. You can do all of that from your phone. You actually don't even need the rear screen in the Austin robotaxi. You can just use your phone for 100% of the ride. You can confirm your ride. You can change the music from your phone. You can change the temperature and the HVAC from your phone, all on the robotaxi. You don't need that rear screen. So this can still be used as a robotaxi if Tesla wants to throw these on the road for that purpose as well. Now, unlike the cheaper Tesla Cybertruck that has the cloth seats, it looks like this new Model Y, I should call it the cheaper Model Y, is going to have vegan leather seats still. And this gets difficult because the cloth is probably cheaper, but depending on, manufacturing economies of scale, if you're already pumping out 1 million of these seats, probably more than that, you don't want to make a whole nother line to pump out another 1 million of a different seat. You already have the seats available, just pump out a few more, and it's not going to cost you all that much more to put these in. Now, as this cheaper Model Y scales up, I wouldn't be surprised to see now the cheaper Model Y actually does come with cloth seats. You could get the, the vegan leather if you want to pay another $1,000 or something, but by default, it comes with the cloth. So maybe in the future, they will switch over to that. But as of now, they're making so many seats, they might as well just throw the same seats into this cheaper vehicle. It seems that the seats in the cheap Model Y are not going to be cooled. They will still be heated because that is an essential function for a vehicle to be able to heat to you. And heated seats are far more efficient than heating all of the air in the cabin. So that helps with the range and everything. The cooled seats, maybe you'll use a barely less air conditioning if you have cooled seats, but they don't help that much. And they're definitely like a luxury item. So it's something that Tesla can for sure get rid of to save a few bucks. There will, of course, be less speakers. Tesla has already done this in the past where you get premium audio with the long range, and then the standard range gets lesser audio. What's funny now, I think still the rear wheel drive Tesla Model Y does get the premium audio still, and that may change eventually. So take advantage if you want to do that. But usually, like when you get the long range Model 3, the standard range Model 3 gets less speakers, doesn't get the subwoofers, or maybe gets 1 instead of 2. Tesla's kind of changed the way they've done it over the years. But yeah, we're definitely going to have less premium quality audio in the cheaper Model Y, but if I had to guess, it's probably still going to sound fantastic because Tesla is really good at that. There will be no coat hooks in the back, and also the shelf that comes with the new Model Y is going to be gone. Makes sense. I mean, the coat hooks, maybe some people use. I don't know if I've ever actually used the coat hooks in my Model Y, so I would be fine with that. And the rear shelf, I took it out immediately. I'm never going to use that thing. Honestly, I think it's a piece of junk. Maybe some people use it, but yeah, definitely get rid of that. And it looks like the single turn signal stalk is still going to be there. This thing's got to be like the cheapest part in the world. It literally just goes up and down for your turn signal. So they're going to keep that, but you will still be shifting from the screen, which is a great cost reduction. And in my experience, now that I'm used to it, I don't want the shifter stalk back. I would pay a premium actually to not have that there. So Tesla can save money, not including it, and customers can get a good experience at the same time. Okay, I'm going to rapid fire a few because these are more rumors and they're definitely not confirmed. They're not from these leaks that we just saw, but highly completely possible, and I think are probably true for the most part, at least in some capacity. So smaller battery, this is a huge cost savings if Tesla can do this. And if they do make the wheelbase smaller and they remove like the heavy glass roof and do some other optimizations, you might not get a huge range hit. But again, we're going for a cheaper, more economy vehicle here. So if you're getting 230-ish miles of range, that's going to be fair compared to the price you're paying. So now Tesla can take out a big chunk of battery, put less cells in there, pay a lot less money to power this vehicle. On top of that, they might reduce the wheel size, which is also going to help with range, help with cost, help with everything. Actually, that's actually nice to have that option. I would like a smaller wheel option myself. Ambient lighting, rumor that it will only be white inside the car. I don't know. That seems kind of crazy and would be useless, but okay, that's one of the rumors. All windows could be changed back to single layer glass instead of having the double pane. Seems like a good cost savings, but still a rumor. And the electric trunk could be changed to manual. Another cost savings that I think is probably not worth the inconvenience it would give to customers, especially in a hatchback. Having a manual hatchback is kind of crazy. I do not think that one's going to happen, but it's one of the rumors. So let's talk about the price. It's rumored this thing's going to be somewhere around $36,000, $35,000, somewhere in that range. We don't know, but that's the rumor as of now. And this puts it like right in range with the Chevy Equinox, which is one of the best-selling smaller, mid-range SUVs. And on top of this, you're still going to have Tesla's premium software experience. I'm sure this is still coming with the Ryzen processor. So all of your infotainment and everything that you interact with on the screen is still going to be fast and snappy and work well. And of course, full self-driving is still going to be available. Now, is someone going to want to buy this cheaper vehicle and then pay $8,000 for full self-driving or pay $99 a month? Hey, maybe they look at the more expensive Model Y versus the cheaper Model Y and they say, hey, I could have this cheaper Model Y that can drive me and I don't have to drive. I'm going to pick that instead of paying more for a more premium experience, but then I can't afford full self-driving. I think that's going to be a very small amount of people, but it's definitely a possibility and you'll always have the option. So that's great. So what do you think this price change, this cheaper Model Y is going to do? How do you think it's going to impact the market? Do you think people are going to be excited? And do you think it's actually going to outsell the previous best-selling vehicle of the past few years, the Tesla Model Y? Could Tesla have the best-selling and second best-selling cars in the world at the same time? Probably not. I'm sure you're going to take away some of those Model Y buyers and put them into the cheaper Model Y camp, as well as pulling in some buyers that were not going to buy that more expensive Model Y and put them into the cheaper Model Y camp. But overall, I'm excited to see what Tesla does with this, and it's always good to have cheaper options. And you also have to keep in mind, some of these things might seem minor, like take the double pane glass going back to single pane, for example. It might not seem like that's a huge cost savings, but if Tesla plans to make millions of these, then all of that savings does add up to big numbers. So let me know what you think about this down in the comments below, and you will see me in the next video.